Welcome back to Glenn Ammonium Podcast, and here's your host, Glenn, and I'm going to talk to you about Is College Right for Me, Part 3. And today's subject is one that I'm very close to is online schools. What would you consider, why would you consider going to an online school? Well, for one, they tout convenience. However, over the past few years, a lot of these so-called online schools have been under fire by the United States government, U.S. Department of Treasury, the Board of Education, mainly because a lot of the online schools tend to come from all those for-profit colleges like your Corinthian, your University of Phoenix, your DeVry. A few years ago, the Corinthian colleges all got shut down, and there were some people that refused to pay off their debt. And they started like this whole movement. I don't know how well that's doing right now. I'm in a similar situation. I went to an online school. I started in a brick and mortar campus in Phoenix, which unfortunately, I was young and unprepared and I couldn't stay down there. I was given the option to continue my courses online. Unfortunately, I thought it was a good idea at the time because, I was pressured to go to school and I was following a passion. And I really desperately wanted to get out of a situation that I was in. I wanted to get higher education so I can get jobs because this is the kind of stuff colleges and counselors, they promise students. They literally promise students that if they go to college, they can get a better job. Now, even some of these schools promise this, especially a lot of online schools, because we're at an age where, teen parents are more of a thing than ever. They say that it's gone down, but from where I'm standing, that's not the case. There are people who are looking for a second career. The first career didn't work out. Maybe they're burned out. They want to do something else. So all these online colleges pop up and they try to say, oh, well, this is a convenient way for you to get your education while you're in school without having to leave the house, without having to go to an actual campus. But see, there's a deception in this. Because online colleges, you do not get the same value of education that you would at a hands-on brick and mortar school. Because while it's convenient to take a class online, you lack actually being in the classroom and asking questions and getting answers. Because what you're doing with online schools is you're typing in a forum. Most of the time you're either typing in a forum or maybe you're doing like a webinar. And you probably have, and it's not something that's cheap. People might think that you might be saving money in online school. That's not exactly true. But I'm going to get into that later. When I went to an online school, it was basically treated like you're in a forum. Just a regular web forum with the school's name on the top. And instead of teachers, we had what we call facilitators. Facilitators were basically glorified teacher's aid. All they would do is give you the coursework and expect you to do it within a certain time frame. And that was it. It was pretty cut and dry. This was the Art Institute, by the way. I was getting into like web program and graphic design because that was my biggest passion because, the web was like taking off and I wanted to get work doing that. Years later, I sort of gravitated towards video games because I thought, I wanted to be an independent video game developer. There were people like I can develop a video game, but I figured that if I had some sort of degree that would give me some sort of credibility to work for, I don't know, Naughty Dog, a lot of the big AAA studios, or even some of the AA studios. I know it's a shaky career field to get into nowadays. A lot of that stuff's contract, and a lot of these game companies don't really pay you good money anymore. I don't think they ever have. I've heard of all the slave labor stories of like Electronic Arts making you work almost 24/7. You don't get to contact your families, and they demand it out of you. But, part of me didn't care because I was passion. I freaking hate that word, by the way, passion. Whenever I see a job posting that says passion, my stomach turns. Because passion is usually a code word for, we want to take advantage of you and burn you out. But you should be thankful that we're even hiring you in the first place. This is kind of the attitude of a lot of employers. Those are the kind of employers that don't care about their employees, by the way. You're just a number. You're just a number to them. The executives and all the higher-ups get to reap all the benefits, while you're the one with the education and the background and know how to do this stuff. You're the one getting treated like a wage slave, even though you have a good degree. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. I apologize. But yeah, the first thing I want to bring out with online schools is you do not get the same type of education that somebody sitting in an actual classroom will get. Online schools cannot replace that. Online schools cannot replace what professors interacting with professors and other classmates. And I know, being antisocial was a big, huge deal for a while. I was the same way, because I had a bad time in high school. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those guys that got picked on a lot. You know, I didn't want to, and I thought college would be more the same. Although when I did go to the brick and mortar school in Phoenix, it was a lot different. College was fun. College was like the anti-high school. That's why I loved it. That's why I loved it so much. It was the anti-high school. All the stupid cliques in high school don't exist in college, unless you're going to one of those prissy state universities. But at a regular college, it's actually really cool. Community college is awesome because it's like a slice of life just all over the place. Anyway, tangent again. Sorry. Um, yeah, you miss out on a lot of actual hands-on training with going to an actual classroom. Now, the second thing that I'm going to bring up with online schools is the fees. Believe it or not, do the math on this, but most online schools actually charge more money than a brick and mortar campus. They charge more money than a brick and mortar campus. Why do they charge more money? My experience with the online school, one of the things they said was to cover lab fees. But I asked myself, wait a minute. I'm the one shelling out money out of my own pocket for a computer, for a webcam, for all the supplies, the Photoshop, the Maya, all my textbooks, although textbooks is not really a lab, but basically your desk, your living room becomes a lab. So why are you paying the school a lab fee when your lab is basically in your own home, in your own living room? And then they try to say, well, it's justified a server cost. You could have just say server costs. But of course, these are the marketing quote geniuses behind the online school thing. Um, Really, you're getting ripped off. Either way, you're getting ripped off because if you're paying for labs that you're basically using money out of your own pocket to pay for labs. Out of your own freaking pocket. At a brick and mortar campus, at least the labs are justified because you're using the school equipment. With an online school, you're using your own equipment. The school's not going to send you a kit. The school's not going to send you a lab. Unless they send you an actual lab to use, you shouldn't have to pay for lab fees. And this is one of many little hidden fees that online schools try to get you with. Because with the school that I went to, the Art Institute, the tuition fees were actually higher. And another excuse they'll try to say, well, you're paying for a convenience. You're paying for a convenience. Because there are a lot of people that want to go to school, but they don't live in the big cities. A lot of colleges and school are in the bigger cities. And there's a lot of different situations why people can't go to school. A big reason is you can't afford it, especially now. Some people don't actually know to go to community college first. You'd be surprised how many people never even considered community college as a stepping stone. A lot of people don't like in high school. You're young, you want to have fun. The last thing in your mind is, well, I'm not gonna go to school during the summer. But some people actually do go to community college and they get some early college course credits. I wish I did that, but then again, back then the community college we had in 1998 didn't have anything I was interested in. Our community college was kind of a joke in the 1990s. Like we had classes for pottery. Like you couldn't get it. You couldn't even do anything tech related. It was mostly nursing was probably their biggest thing because Arizona is a big retirement state. It's all about service and retirement. So you're gonna have a lot of old people, and they need people to wipe their butts, and that's where nurses come in. But other than that, they offer computer information systems, but the catch is I don't see a lot of computer information system jobs popping up in the northern Arizona part. Maybe the southern Arizona part, but who would want to live in Phoenix? We're going through a nasty heat wave right now. I live in Kingman, and it's like 109 degrees out. And my swamp cooler barely working, so I'm actually sweating here. I got a portable AC, but it can only do so much. Anyway, tangent. People are going to get annoyed with these tangents, and I apologize, but this is a podcast. I tend to ramble on like an old man. Okay, so back to where I was talking about. Lab fees, big ripoff. If an online school is trying to get you to pay lab fees, it's not worth it. Save your money. Find a way to go to a campus. Find a way. Oh, and back to the earlier subject, there is a lot of reasons why people can't afford to go to a brick and mortar campus. Like they live in a city that, like, because usually once you go to community college, once you get your enough credits, unless you have a state university or a state college you can go to, that means you probably have to get up and leave. And some people, like, there might be a living situation where their parents are old. My mom was in her declining years, and I had family, and another family member kind of struggled to stay employed. Kind of didn't want to really be employed, but or maybe you got kids, and it's really hard to go to school when you got kids because kids are expensive. A lot. You'd be surprised how many people have kids without going to college and then realizing, holy crap, kids are expensive. Um, but that's just the reality of it. Um, and there's a lot of other factors too. I mean, maybe you just can't afford to move. Colleges are always in the bigger cities. The state, at least state universities. Usually, smaller counties usually have community college. I think it's required by law. I'm not sure how that goes. But like, if you want to further your education, and I would recommend if you have to go to college to get a job because I understand. I don't want to be this guy who's like, go to college, go to college, go to college. Because there are options besides a 4-year degree. There are plenty of options, trust me. And I'll get into that in another video. Um, all right, I'm going to continue on. 3. Am I on 3? I don't think I even numbered these. 3, job placement in online schools below. Okay. This is another disadvantage that online schools put students in. Um, See, when you take a course in online school, usually you're encouraged to visit the actual campus to meet up with potential recruiters. Now, here's the thing: if you're in a living situation that you cannot make it to these, I'm not going to lie, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot big time. Because usually it's those first few days meeting with potential recruiters is crucial for college graduates. It's basically you got to get your foot in the door. Unless you manage to get an internship where you live, but if you're basically a fish out of water, you're going to need these recruiters. And there's even a good chance you may not even get selected. It's a game. It really is a game. But when you're in an online school, you kind of get complacent. You're comfortable. You're in a comfort zone. You don't want to really deviate from that, and you want to tell yourself, oh, it'll be okay. I'll have this magical piece of paper that'll guarantee me employment with a higher commanding salary. And no, college is no longer the gateway for a higher paying salary. Maybe if you're a senior level, but entry level, no. Entry level, you're barely making above minimum wage. And most employers know this. Most employers know that there are a lot of junior graduates out there who are starving for work, and they know this, and they will take advantage of it. The only people who command higher salaries are those on a senior level or they're related, because nepotism is a B word. Nepotism. I'm not gonna lie. I've known people who, even though they barely put maybe 2 years in school and are making more than some of the people who went to school for 4 years. It's messed up. It's messed up. Um, but yeah, online schools, you have a much harder time getting job placement. And let's see, there's a fourth reason I wanted to get into with online schools. Most of them are not accredited. They say they're accredited, but it's false accreditation. This is what happened to I think it was Corinthian schools, and a lot of for-profit colleges are under fire by the United States government. Um, Art Institute was another school that got under fire. They falsified accreditation because they are not a real. There is like a loophole, a legal loophole to get accreditation, but it's usually by some bank or by some glorified notary republic, and they use that as a means because you have to be accredited in order to take government loans from students. The whole point of a for-profit college is basically to get government money from the working class. Because these loans are not dischargeable through bankruptcy, no matter how hard you try, be it private or federal. If it's used to pay for school, once you pay that school, the school gets to keep the money, do whatever they want with it, and the student is stuck with the debt. The student is stuck with the debt. and and it's worse because if your school falsified accreditation, that means your degree is pretty much worthless. I mean, the worthiness of a degree has gone down over the years, but there are employers who are really, 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 really meticulous about who they hire. So, like, if they found out you had a degree from, like Apollo College, and they'll probably pick somebody with an actual state degree. I wouldn't be surprised when I started firing out resumes back in 2008, where they say Art Institute. There are graphic designers who went to better schools. There are web developers who went to better schools. Sometimes, it may not always matter in the tech field. The school isn't a big deal, but if it's like a business and finance, or even maybe a nursing school, they kind of look at that stuff. Especially grade point value, GPA. They look at that stuff too. Online school, you could do well in online school, but they see that name and like if that and that online and the thing is, with that false accreditation, you basically just sent these guys tens of thousands of dollars for a fake piece of paper. And I know a lot of you trying to defend your degree. I defended my degree to death, but people would tell me, "Your degree's no good, dude. Your degree's no good. Your degree's no good." Well, eventually they were kind of right. I mean, there are Art Institute people that do have work, but they probably lived in an area where there were jobs. Where in my case, I lived in the upper part of Arizona, where it's mostly dirt poor retirees and rednecks, and not a lot of tech. And when I do see a tech job, it's usually like barely above minimum wage because, like I said earlier, now a bachelor degree is basically barely good enough for an entry level job. That's how bad it is now because we have so many people taking the same type of degree that now employers are looking at it and say, well, shoot, instead of starting this guy at 40,000 a year, we're just going to do 29,000. Yeah, because why not? Because I'm seeing this with programmers now. Because now that we have programmer boot camps and like every one of their mom is coding online, it's like I'm a coder, I'm a coder. Most of them don't have degrees. I learned how to code, and I got a degree, but even I still can't find work. But I think my issue is location is a big deal. I've actually managed to get a couple interviews out of it. I mean, have to play the game like everybody else. I actually had a fourth reason why online college is not a good investment. Oh, here we go. When you graduate from an online school, there is a very strong chance your credits are not transferable to any real accredited university. I've tried this with my Art Institute credits. They were not transferable. They were within the time frame. I graduated in 2008 and it was almost 2010. And I think you get like 2 to 4 years. Otherwise, your credits are no good. They weren't transferable. As a matter of fact, the school actually tried to get me to sign another FAFSA to get more loans. I told them, no, you're supposed to see if my credits are supposed to be transferable. School says they were transferable. And eventually they caved in and said, I'm sorry, your credits are not transferable. And especially when the school loses accreditation, it's even more pointless. I mean, what's more pointless than pointless? But if you can't transfer your credits, you have to start over from square one. So all that money you invested into higher education at these fly-by-night for-profit colleges, especially the online ones, you can't even transfer your credit. You can't even transfer your general education. So that means all that math and English and history and all those pointless fluff courses that inflate the curriculum, they're useless. You'd have to take them again. And it's ridiculous. I feel bad for anybody. Like, you get hornswoggled by these guys. It's bad enough they drill into our heads that if you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure. But even the people who, don't have the means to go to a brick and mortar university, they figured online was like next best thing. And God, they advertise the crap out of these schools. Like whenever you turn on TV, they always advertise it. There's always a bunch of fake actors with fake smiles shaking each other's hands and looking all professional, but it's a lie. It's a lie. The marketing team for all these online schools, they project a lie to get people to take out loans that they probably can't be able to pay back because the school is not accredited properly and they're not going to find work learning all the courses online. And plus, and the fifth reason that online schools are not a good investment is because really, some colleges give you real hands-on education, Like you're actually working with real professionals, doing actual work, getting actual slight work like internship experience at a brick and mortar school. You can't do that with an online college. You just can't because you're by yourself online. You might be able to get away with it if it's like web design or web coding, but if you're trying to get into IT, you're trying to get into nursing or physical therapy or being a lawyer or being a doctor, I cannot stress this enough. You cannot get this kind of experience just sitting there in front of a computer. You might as well just go on YouTube and watch this stuff. I mean, you could learn how to fix a car on YouTube. So why pay a school, $20,000, $40,000 to be an auto mechanic? You can just learn this stuff on YouTube. But still, nothing beats the education of actually doing the hands-on stuff by yourself. And online schools cannot provide that. So yeah, I'm reaching towards the end of my video. And I'm going to say this, online schools are worthless. Please, for the love of your future and possibly your children's future, if you really have to go to college, I don't recommend you going to college if it's something that you can obtain with a certification. Do not touch online schools. I will say one thing with online schools, if you have to do online schools, if you have to do an online school, do it at a state university or a community college. Here's the golden rule: if you see a college that advertises on TV, there's a good chance they're for profit, they're a ripoff. Avoid them. University of Phoenix, DeVry, Art Institute, any of those schools who advertise on TV, the ones who want to be a chef or be a lawyer, avoid them. Avoid them. ITT Tech's another one. Avoid them. You're not going to get a valued education. I'm sorry. You're not going to get a value education. If they tout online programs only, do not. You're doing yourself a disservice. Because even like I said earlier, general education courses will not transfer from these schools. If you have to take schools online, check with your community college first. Check with them first. Because I know there are some professions you unfortunately have to go to a 4-year, maybe even 6 years, like physical therapy, occupational therapy, because the medical industry is basic. Medical schools are, that's another thing. Medical schools, don't ever go to. If you want to learn medical, don't go to online schools. Don't go to online schools. Just don't, because you got to learn this stuff by hand. You got to learn how to poke people with IVs. You got to learn how to pass out pills. You got to learn bedside manners, stuff that you cannot learn on a computer. You got to be there in that field. So anyway, I will conclude this video by saying online schools are a very poor investment, especially in this day and age where now the college degree is basically no more a stepping stone than a high school diploma was a few years ago. And unfortunately, the only good thing a college degree can do is get past the blockade of HR, and you proved a company well. So you went to get quote unquote training. But see, a lot of colleges don't provide. This is another thing with online schools; they don't provide real internship opportunities. I guess I kind of blindsided on that one. They don't provide you with real internship opportunities. Oh, they might offer it, but that means wherever you are at, you're gonna have to take a few days off work if your work even lets you, or if you're a single parent, God help you if you can find somebody to look after your kids for maybe a week. Or maybe you're in a situation where you just don't have a car or can afford a plane, or you're unemployed, but somehow you're taking online. Like I said, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Online schools are just not worth it. All right, gang, this video has gone on long enough. I've given you my opinion and very strong examples why you should never invest in online college, especially for-profit schools. But if you absolutely must go to school, just attend a community college. Get your general education course out of the way, because those credits will transfer to the state university of your choice. It might even transfer to an out-state university. But the thing is, community college credits are transferable. And plus, community college and state universities have to abide by the law. Okay? Because, see, for-profit colleges have lawyers. Lots and lots and lots and lots of lawyers. They have loopholes. And they basically, the government's been going after them. It's bad when the government goes after these guys. Anyway, this has gone on long enough. I'm going on another tangent, and I'm probably raising my blood pressure talking about this. But thank you for listening. Thank you for dealing with my off-topic ramblings. If you have any comments, any discussions, please do not hesitate to leave them below. And if you like this channel, leave maybe click that subscribe button, maybe leave a like or even a dislike if you feel like it, because I know this is the internet. And other than that, I'll see you next time. Maybe I'll have a part 4, or maybe I'll find another subject to ramble and rave about. Maybe you guys are getting sick of hearing me rave about college. Maybe I could talk about entrepreneur, or, making money off of YouTube. I know that's kind of a big deal. I'm actually doing this. This channel is, I'm not here to make big money, but this is like one of the many online ventures I've been doing, But anyway, I'll save that for another video. You guys take care and Godspeed.